What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. I am your host. I am the self-proclaimed student of the game, Mike Wellman. Welcome to the show. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you here. As always, folks, you can believe it, this is episode 86 of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Like I said, this is the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. And on this episode, we have a lot to get to, folks. We are going to talk about that Cody Roman Reigns cinematic face-off from the 50-yard line at Georgia Tech from last week's Smackdown. It was just a promo, if you would even call it that, for the ages. A very well done segment last week on Smackdown. Got everybody talking. So we're going to keep talking about it and share our thoughts on that. Then we're also going to review AEW Grand Slam. AEW was back at Arthur Ashe Stadium this past Wednesday for Dynamite Grand Slam. And we're going to talk about some of the results there. MVP showing up, looking to do some business with Swerve. Hook retiring the FTW title. Moxley stealing that title shot from Darby Allin. And Brian making Nigel, spoiler, tap out at Arthur Ashe Stadium. So, we're also going to talk about our trip to Collision. That's right, myself and Wrestling Fan Kris went to AEW Collision this past Saturday in Springfield, Massachusetts. For some reason, my video screen's freezing here. But we were in Springfield at Collision and Rampage. And we almost stuck around for some Ring of Honor matches, but it was getting late. Kid was getting cranky. Our wives were getting bored. So we decided to beat it at just the right time.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't introduce you yet, Kris. How did you? I unmuted you right as you said that. So joining me, as always, folks, he is the voice of the people. The notorious Wrestling Fan Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's up, Mike? Looking forward to next year celebrating Smart Mark Sterling and AEW Day in Springfield.
September 21st. I think it was only of this year.
Yeah, you're right. You're probably right. Sad.
It'll also be the anniversary of the sheriff of this county getting arrested for DUI.
Oh, what a day.
Which also happened on Saturday night in beautiful downtown Springfield.
Good thing we didn't stay for that Ring of Honor show.
I think it actually went down during the first Ring of Honor tapings, I'm pretty sure. Right when we were walking in, I think.
Oh, uh-huh.
And also, yeah, right at MGM where we parked our cars.
Great.
But anyways, we're going to talk more about our trip to Collision at the Mass Mutual Center, but we got a lot to get to. And before we go any farther, that's right. We need you to be kind, like this video, subscribe to Watch Wrestling Pod, and share the podcast on social media. Folks, let people know. You already know where you can find this podcast. Apple, Stitcher. Wait, is Stitcher a thing? No, it's dead. Spotify, Google, on your Zune, on your iPad, on your iPod Nano. Wherever you listen to podcasts, on your OG iPod, 30 gigabyte, whatever. Also on social media, at W Wrestling Pod on X, Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook, Watch Wrestling Podcast on Instagram, and I think we are at Watch Wrestling Pod on TikTok, folks. Trying to get the TikTok up and running so we can get some of these clips clipped up for your consumption. And also www.patreon.com/watchwrestling. Support the podcast if you are so inclined. Choose a tier that fits. And we look forward to not having any problems, big fella. Isn't that right, Wrestling Fan Kris?
Correct. Just like Vince McMahon has zero problems with Netflix documentary.
Oh, he's got a lot of problems with it.
Yes, correct.
which we're going to talk about probably on our next episode. I'm about halfway through the Vince documentary, Mr. McMahon, on Netflix. They definitely don't shy away from the scandals. I mean, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, sure did. But guy comes out and says, I don't know what they want out there publicly. Yeah, no shit, Jimmy Hart. I don't know what they want out there publicly. You're the Mouth of the South. You should be saying all of this into your megaphone.
What a stooge. Still on the payroll, huh?
Yep. So I'm about halfway through, like I said. I'm going to reserve judgment until the final episode. I don't want to hit on them for leaving stuff out or painting Mr. McMahon in a too good of a light until I see the whole thing. So we'll talk about that on our next episode. But one thing we are going to talk about right now is this epic cinematic face-off that we saw, like I mentioned, from the 50-yard line at Georgia Tech. Who's before we go into the promo, whose city is it, Chris? Is it Roman City or Cody City?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, it's got to be Roman's.
Roman Reigns, because he played football at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, just because Cody was like born there, and like, come on, man. Jacksonville's more your city, boss.
Oh, I was gonna say Buzz Sawyer's city. Last Battle of Atlanta.
You're right. You got it. Maybe. God, jeez. It's Ted Turner's city for real.
It really is. But yes, Cody and Roman on SmackDown last week. They played this scene where they met up. And they met on the 50-yard line on the football field of Georgia Tech, where, as we mentioned, Roman Reigns played football in college. And Cody Rhodes, people he knew, did things in Atlanta. That was his claim to the cities. Center stage is that way. People I know wrestled. The Omni, State Farm Arena is that way. The Omni. It's no sportatorium.
No, it's. I'm going to tell you though, just a little insight. I have been to the city of Atlanta, and Georgia Tech and the new place where the Hawks play are very, very close by. So it is kind of a nice little thing where like Roman Reigns is the Georgia Tech guy, and the Rhodes family is Atlanta. You know, it's pretty close. I like that as a little added like wrinkle that I noticed just because I've been there before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they were talking about who really is the representative for Atlanta. But it was good because Cody really got into character, I feel like, in this one. Actor Cody showed up. And Roman was just his normal, kind of slightly angry, stoic self. The cinematic tribal chief that we've come to know.
Yeah.
And, Cody really called him out. He said, we've got... Let me see if I can play this. See where we're at with this. Might be an ad that's going to pop up.
They took my bloodline, and they took my Ulafala.
They did take his Ulafala.
They did.
I don't have anything to lose. For the first time in a long time, there's no weight on my neck. It's all on yours.
The Ulafala?
I'm a man with no country now.
You're telling me this like I'm supposed to be surprised. I told you before WrestleMania, the first go-round, that you would be standing here just like you're standing here now, a chief without a tribe. They took Jimmy. They took your wise man. They took the Ulafala. Really think you've got nothing to lose, though? Because I see that situation. Again, I will raise you another. Take a look around WWE. Take a good look. We already got a tribal
WWE.
chief. It's not you. And we have a WWE champion. It's not you. So if you can't even beat your own bloodline, who's standing here right now? I'll tell you, it's not the biggest box office attraction in the history of WWE. It's not that guaranteed WrestleMania main eventer, no. It's the guy they used to call Roman Reigns.
They used to call him Roman Reigns.
They just call him.
And now there's an ad that's going to play because I wanted to fast forward, of course. So I really liked the dialogue here. Roman first saying he's got nothing to lose, which, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because he has had a lot to lose, which is why he's constantly needed the help of the bloodline for the past 4 years,
Yeah.
till losing to Cody. And he has since not only lost...
It's not yours to take.
You're in my way. You're in my way in life.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, so they're making Roman seem, desperate and more engaged than he has been in the past, and Cody's making all these valid points of saying they took everything from you, and there's really no spot for you. We don't need you now. We have a tribal chief. We have a WWE champion, and it's not you. So then Roman says, "You're in my way in life," and that's all you need. Sums it up right there. That is the entire story summed up right there of this.
Yep. Where do you think this is heading? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
I think Cody's going to remain in Roman's way for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Practically, though, I agree. And I think you need something cinematic like this. When I'm not saying the story between Cody and Roman is like dried up or anything or stale, but if you want to sort of continue between two guys, you have to do things like this. Big cinematic thing, make it more about life, have them it's always going to be them. No matter where they go at different paths for a little while, they're always going to cross again. I think it was a great, well done. It's going to set up lots of future things. But I don't know. I'm like kind of feeling like not sympathy for Roman, but I'm kind of rooting for Roman now. Well, over Cody.
One thing that I took out of this was, we've seen these guys wrestle in the main event of WrestleMania for the past 2 years. And after this promo, I'm ready for another one. Let's go. Let's do it again.
I think Roman's winning the Royal Rumble.
Well, we already know who's winning the Royal Rumble. You're close with Roman. Close. Throwing a dart at the family tree. Pretty close.
I hope so. We'll see how that goes. But you're right. It might be. It does seem like they're going to be like teaming up reluctantly for something at first. Because I like that idea. I like that idea.
Are you having a bunkhouse brawl at your house right now?
Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara are here. Hold on 1 second.
Make Mike Bennett juice after 30 seconds into the match. Folks, this is some audio. Geez. This is the hardcore title audio version.
Crash Holly just came in with Jack Doan.
He ran in.
Jeez. No, but I do think, let's get back. Sorry. I do think it looks like they're going to like kind of team up maybe reluctantly and take off the more evil. Because this is like a mutual, it's even though Roman said that Cody is in his way in life, there's still like kind of like a respect. You're like a respect, a tip of the cap, I think, from Roman. So they might have to team up to take out the actual evil, which might be the bloodline, I'm assuming, at some point. And then they'll go at it. Classic booking. Triple H loves this kind of classic booking, which is fine with me. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think it kind of sewed up why they're going to team up now, but why they're not a team, Like, they're not done with each other. Yeah. Cody thinks it's done. He won the match. He's letting Roman know you got nothing left. You got nothing to lose. And then Roman's like, No, you're in my way in life. Which, again, to me, that just set this thing. It just set the pieces on the path, on the board of, okay, these two are not done. And not only is the bloodline going to continue on for a long time on our screens, but this feud between the two best performers in WWE right now, Cody and Roman, is going to keep going on.
Do you think that they're going to stretch this out though? And like you said, I think Roman's not going to win the Rumble, and they're not going to go to WrestleMania until next year, not the next one coming up, but the next year. And they're going to separate them in some sort of draft because Netflix is going to need a big star. Is that Roman Reigns? Is that Cody? I'm assuming it's going to be one of them. So they're probably going to be separated for a while. It's going to be interesting.
Well, so you're predicting that Roman versus Cody is essentially a WrestleMania main event, but do they want to do it now or skip a WrestleMania or two or whatever? And I'm thinking they might do Roman versus Cody. It's tough, but they could do it before then, you know?
Yeah.
They've got this Saturday night's main event show. I don't think they would do it at the Royal Rumble, but who knows? There's the net, like you said, Raw's going to Netflix, even though these guys are on SmackDown. There's a lot of possibilities, and I think they're open to more possibilities, but I'm still interested.
Yeah, I am too, and we know that this is only like the fifth inning probably of the bloodline, right? If the third inning was like a year and a half ago, this is only like the fifth or sixth. So like they're going to just keep it. That's why I think they're going to stretch it out more. Maybe they're going to team up a little bit, cross-pass a little here, and then they'll go their separate ways for a little while. That means The Rock could win the Royal Rumble. It could be Rock Roman at WrestleMania like we all want and need. And then Cody can go somewhere else. I don't know. And then they'll come back around to it around SummerSlam next year.
Yeah, it could be a SummerSlam match for sure, especially if The Rock is going to be involved at WrestleMania and only WrestleMania. So,
yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, at least like I remember on this very podcast and in our personal lives, just thinking about how horrible Raw was specifically, but also WWE and how everything was predictable. We didn't care about anything. And now at least we're like, yay, we care about this still, and it could go so many ways.
Right. And I think, like I said, Roman just sealed it when he said, "You're in my way in life." Like, it just gave him such a purpose for, like, all of the times that Roman, as the tribal chief and as the champion, he basically beat, all of the guys that he beat in title matches. He maintained all that power for so long. And this is like, so he got everything he wanted, whether it was beating up his own cousin, making his cousin beat up his cousin, whatever he needed done, got done. Yep. And now Cody really is in his way because now Roman has nothing and Cody has essentially everything, except obviously doesn't have the Ulafala.
I'm not saying they should rush this either, and I don't think they're going to do this anytime soon, but this kind of story is just ripe for a like Cody heel turn, Roman face turn. It's not close to that now, but if they're going to continue with this, I could see that happening. Will Cody ever do that though? Should they even waste their time on that because Cody's so popular? Those are things you got to think about.
I think that's part of this. I think it's going to be a slow, I don't think it's going to be a one match double turn like the famous the I Quit match. I think it's going to be Cody starts to be a heel. Roman, he's already kind of in that space where he's not directly a heel because everybody loves him.
Yeah.
So that part, that's the easy part, And then you just have. I mean, once you realize you're cheering for one guy, you kind of look across the ring and go, "Oh, so I obviously have to now boo the other guy." And then
exactly
all Cody has to do is kind of lean into that.
Yep. Hold on. Yep.
Oh my God, who's in there? Who's in the ring now? Raven with the shopping cart. Is Steve Blackman going to come out next with a stop sign?
I hope not. That'd be a nightmare. God. Steve Blackman in my house.
Yeah, you'd be getting arrested.
Also, he's dead, so that'd be bad.
What, is he dead, Steve Blackman?
I don't know, actually. Sorry, Steve. Sorry if you're not dead.
You don't say that. Hang on. You don't say that. No, he's not. He's not dead. He is 60 years old, though, for goodness sakes.
I'm sorry, Steve Blackman. Get your money at those conventions. My bad.
You don't talk about the lethal weapon like that on this show, okay?
Why would I be getting arrested if Steve Blackman was in my house?
Because he's a bounty hunter.
Oh, got you. Okay, you're right.
It would mean that he's coming to collect the bounty, unlike Brian Keith.
Yeah. Keep Steve Blackman away from Chris Jericho, okay?
So, anyways, Cody and Roman just extended this thing out as far as they want to go with it. And just the performance as a whole, this scene was an all-timer, a classic, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to really fathom how good the storyline with Roman and Cody is. It really is an all-timer. Like, even going back and watching that WrestleMania documentary, the one that was, so heavily poured over for months before it was able to come out to make sure we had approval from certain parties. Made them look, just like honest, upstanding citizens.
Maybe they wear glasses and bring food to interviews.
Maybe they need to eat a lot of calories. But even watching that and watching the scenes back from both certain moments in the build to WrestleMania 40 and then just the way it played out, like went off without a hitch. It had its over-the-top moments. Like, it is a little crazy, for The Undertaker to chokeslam The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania, right? But just it all came together and it all built perfectly. And it was just so well executed and so big. And it was just so well done that it's like, it's hard to really say, I mean, is that one of the greatest, WrestleMania main events of all time? Probably. Just overall, the whole scene hasn't been that well done since, like I said, Austin and Rock. Probably.
I agree. Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about some AEW stuff now. So, AEW put on their annual Grand Slam episode of Dynamite at Arthur Ashe Stadium on Wednesday. This I thought was a good show.
I enjoyed it.
The Grand Slam crowd is not what it once was. I don't know if this is the third year or the fourth year, but they were getting about 20,000 people filling up that Arthur Ashe Stadium there. They had the lights on all the way up to the ceiling, so you could see all the people way up there. And then now, each year it's been kind of ticking down. I mean, still a lot of people there, but it's just definitely not the big. It wasn't all in, that's for sure.
You know what? Honestly, you could see that on TV too. It felt smaller.
I mean, arena-wise, it just felt like another episode of Dynamite. It didn't seem like they were in a big arena.
Yeah. Didn't take away from anything because the matches were very good. So,
yeah. So let's get into these matches here. What happened on Dynamite Grand Slam? Well, Kris continues to try to retain the hardcore title. I mean, it is 24/7 rules, so I really can't blame them. These guys could come after him at any moment for the hardcore title.
Even when I'm sleeping, it's terrible.
Crash Holly, Raven, Steve Blackman, Bob Holly.
Oh, God. That's...
Midian. Funaki.
Oh, yeah, Funaki.
I mean, this is the hardcore title. We're not even talking about the 24/7 title.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure Dana Brooke is still the champion.
I would enjoy if the R-Truth came to my house, though. That'd be fun.
So, right out of the gate, we got Nigel McGuinness. And, folks, we didn't really get to discuss just this match even coming together. But I was so amped up when that scene with Nigel, when he basically announced that he was facing Bryan a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. I was so charged up, I could not sleep the whole night. I waited till the next morning to send Kris a screenshot of Nigel smiling, because we've had that match booked on this show for quite a while.
It's incredible, yes.
I will say I was surprised with how quickly they did it. As I've said on the show, obviously, I was thinking that a match between Bryan and Nigel would be closer to one of Bryan's last matches, like announced actual last matches. But I do think that Bryan is multi-injured, and I think he might be gone for kind of a while if he actually gets these injuries. If he has any type of surgery, neck surgery, as opposed to just rehabbing stuff for a few months so it doesn't hurt as bad, but it's still there, So I think that they may have pushed this one up a bit on the schedule.
But it's okay. I mean, if Bryan wanted to have another match with Nigel, he probably just wanted to get it in. Like you said, get it in when you can, when you know that you can actually get a match through. this will be way too long. Who knows if you're going to need surgery, if you're going to want to come back ever again. So it's fine. Pop a rating. Let's go.
And Nigel had Bryan in what's the move called? The London. I can't remember the leg. Something.
What's he call it? Yeah.
But it was a good match to start the show. First Bryan didn't come out to his theme music, and then the final countdown. The final coward, Bryan. The fragile countdown, whatever Nigel's calling him. So this match was good. Danielson won, non-title match. Okay, Chris, do you agree with this statement? Every match against a champion is effectively a title eliminator.
Yeah, sure.
Every time a champion is wrestling, it's a title eliminator because it's either for the championship, because we hear about these title eliminators, right? Where people wrestle the champion, and if you beat the champion, then you're the number one contender. First of all, a title eliminator doesn't need to have the champion in it. Really, in real fighting, a title eliminator is when you have two contenders and you need to eliminate one.
Yes.
Not when you want to go beat the champion, but when the belt's not on the line.
I mean, I understand why they do it. I understand why they do it's a non-title match because Nigel McGuinness didn't earn his title shot. I get that. But generally, I have a pet peeve of non-title matches when the champ wins. You know? Like Bret Hart put the title on the line against Skinner on Superstars. Like, what did Skinner do to deserve a title shot?
Hey, but Bret was a fighting champion. But here's back to the title eliminator. Here's why every match against the champion is a title eliminator. Because it's either for the title, right? So then there you go. You're eliminating the champion, and you now have the title if you beat him. Or it's a non-title match. And even if they don't expressly say in advance that you will win the number one contendership with a win, you just beat the world champion. No one has a better claim. You are the number one contender by default if you beat the champion.
Yeah, or at least you could say, hey, I just beat you. Where's my title shot?
Yeah, so there's no other contender that would have a better claim to a title shot. You beat the champion, you win either the title or a title shot because now the champion is walking around after you just beat them.
It's crazy, yeah.
So every match against the champion is a title eliminator. You don't have to say it. But
tell Tony.
But in this one, Bryan made Nigel tap. And then Nigel was actually saying thank you as he was tapping. So you're welcome.
That's very nice, yeah.
You're welcome for booking that one.
He was saying that directly to you, yes.
So I'm glad these two got to have a match and run it back, and I'm glad that AEW got to tell the story of Nigel's Ring of Honor run in 10-minute highlight clips.
Yeah, I mean, Nigel probably isn't in the best shape. I mean, he didn't look gas at all in that match, but I'm sure he doesn't want to get back on the road. But he could come back and wrestle anytime he wants, I would think.
Yeah, that's a good. I wonder if he's done. I wonder if this was all he wanted was the match with Bryan, or if he's got anything else.
Because I mean, I remember watching that Nigel McGuinness documentary on the network back in the day. Great. I really felt for the guy. Really wanted him to achieve his dreams of wrestling, in the big time. So that was another wrinkle that I enjoyed. Hopefully he can do some more.
So next up we had Hook defending the FTW championship against Roderick Strong, one of the best wrestlers in AEW, Roderick Strong.
Yes.
On display in this match. This was FTW rules. So we had Mike Bennett and Matt Taven getting involved, which we saw Mike Bennett and Matt Taven get involved with some blood on Saturday, which we'll talk about.
Can't wait to talk about
it. So, this was a decent match. Hook beat Roderick Strong again. And I think the big news coming out of this one was Hook got on the mic with Tony Schiavone. And he put over the FTW championship. He thanked everybody for supporting him, the FTW title, and then he officially retired the FTW championship and handed it to Taz and gave him a hug in what I thought was a great moment.
Absolutely. What a good time to do it. Good show to do it on. Nice. In New York. Great.
Yeah. Give the title back to Taz so he can defend it. No.
You can't touch him, though. He's Teflon Taz. He'll just win every match.
You can't touch him. So this was a good match. Like I said, Roderick Strong was awesome in this match.
It's good too because now Hook can like kind of because I like Hook. I think Hook has is pretty good. He has a lot of potential. So just get him away from that kind of thing. Just have him wrestle or get into some other story.
So then we had, in my opinion, the match of the night. The AEW Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks defending against the international champion Will Ospreay and his older brother Kyle Fletcher.
That is the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was that Kyle Fletcher is actually pretty damn good. I knew he was good before, but he's really top talent.
You're just noticing that? He's the older brother because he's taller. That's why I made him the older brother.
Gotcha.
Bruv.
Oh, he's the older bruv, yes.
He's older bruv. Should I have bought that bruv flag that was at the merch table at AEW? Do I need bruv merch? I mean,
eventually I think you do. You may not need it now, but eventually you definitely need it.
Bruv. I mean, they're definitely leaning into it.
I understand why I did like the match. I enjoyed the match. I just don't care about the Young Bucks at all. It's so sad.
So coming into this match, I noticed that the Young Bucks, they're kind of just going out there doing their match and leaving now. This show does not center around the Young Bucks at this point in time. And on top of that, the EVP characters are not really resonating with people as much as the Young Bucks have in the past, being, some of the most popular wrestlers in the world, popular enough to start a wrestling promotion, essentially.
Correct.
They're not at that point right now. So I'm watching these guys walk to the ring and I'm like, well, can they still have a good match? Like all that other noise aside, if all they're going to do is show up and wrestle, well, are they still going to put their energy into these great matches that they've had? And it's just, I feel like every time Kyle Fletcher gets in the ring, I have this epiphany, oh, this is about to be an incredible match. And I'm always right.
Yeah.
And it's not rocket science. Predicting, it's like put your money on black. Kyle Fletcher is going to have an amazing match. Just every time bet you'll do pretty good.
Agreed.
So, and that's what we got here. This match was incredible. I liked the stereo styles clashes. I mean, there were points in this match where I really thought Ospreay and Fletcher were going to win.
I did too.
Some of these near falls.
Yeah, I thought they were going to win, honestly. Especially after they did the Meltzer driver.
TK driver.
Of course.
They did tease the no bang for your buck, and then yes, we got the so Ospreay and Fletcher hit the TK driver, but then the Young Bucks actually won with the BTE trigger. And then using the title belts.
It's a good heel move. I like it.
But it wasn't really cheap because really they already did every single move in existence 4 times. So you needed something to end this thing.
Yeah, but definitely some star power in that match and a very good match. Unlike another thing we'll talk about later.
We had Don Callis with the screwdriver trying to give the screwdriver to Kyle Fletcher in this one. He said, hey, go use a screwdriver on those Young Bucks over there before I kick you out of the territory. Kick you out of the Callis family. I'll kick you out of Winnipeg.
Ooh, don't do that.
Just like I kicked the Lucha Brothers out of the territory.
Oh.
They're going to Stanford.
They're going to
Adios, Penta.
There it is. They're going to Orlando, okay? Let's be honest.
No, I don't think that, but so Don Callis, tried to get Kyle Fletcher to use the screwdriver and I guess just stab someone's eye out. And then Will Ospreay did say no, bruv.
Yep. I can't believe that Ospreay is still associated with Callis. I think it's pretty clear he's like this uber face, not in the family, and he's just still hanging around.
He's literally said on camera, I want to not be a part of this group anymore. And they just keep this because he's friends with Kyle Fletcher. And I liked what they said. He's like, I'll be your partner.
That's true. I guess that's true.
But I honestly thought these guys were going to win at certain points in the end of this match. And then we got the spot, like I said, where Ospreay, the good guys, they don't use the weapons, but the bad guys do. And that's why the bad guys win.
You know what? I like that booking too. That's good. That's fine with me.
Like I said, they literally did every move, so it's totally fine.
And they did, and I know you answered the question, but I'll answer it again. The Young Bucks did come out and wrestle and did have a great match, even though the characters aren't resonating. So Thank you, Young Bucks. My faith is restored in you.
Yeah, for sure. And I almost think it's time. Okay, so this, now that we're at the Young Bucks part of the show, I can step this out. This is what it's time for. It is time for the Young Bucks to turn babyface, folks, which in wrestling parlance means good guys. And it is time for FTR to turn heel.
Oh man, you are speaking of that's. I didn't think of that exactly, but now that you said it, that's amazing.
It's time for that because FTR, are they the most popular they've ever been right now? Dare I say, are we a little stale here when they're having to kind of? It's almost like Dax and Turbo are FTR now, right?
I know. Yeah.
I mean, that's what we saw. That was the tag team I saw on Saturday. Was Dax and Turbo.
Just mustaches and sweat.
A lot of sweat, but and I just think that FTR went on this thing where they re-signed with AEW. They said they were going to have 4 years of incredible matches, and then they were going to be done. And ever since then, they've essentially been babyfaces. It is time. We are right in the middle of that. It is time to turn heel and still have these incredible matches as heels, as the heel team. And then the Young Bucks, now more than ever, need to be babyfaces.
Absolutely. They can do it.
And
all they have to do is wrestle.
I don't think it's going to be, it's not going to be like Roman, where Roman has one hint of a babyface and he's a babyface overnight. Crowd is on his side. He spears one bad guy. He helps Cody. He saves the day one time. That's it. He's a babyface officially. With the Bucks, I think it's going to be just, they have to kind of win back some of that fan sentiment, and then their hardcore fans will kind of come back out, I think.
Yeah, that's a better story for them anyway. So I hope they do that.
Well, they're just not doing anything at all.
Exactly. That's probably why they'd have to do that, especially.
Then we had Mariah May in a good match against Yuka Sakazaki. Mina Shirakawa back in the mix, which is good.
Good with me, yeah.
So I obviously am never going to complain about a match with Yuka Sakazaki and Mariah May in it. Which, do you remember the joke I made when we were at Collision about Stardom? Technically,
yes.
It would have been during Rampage, but yeah. Ha ha ha, folks. But yeah, I'm not going to complain about a match with Yuka Sakazaki and Mariah May. But since we're on booking theory today, why can a new champion never just have a big feud as their first title defense? Why can't we just go Mariah May, go right in there against Britt Baker, against Mercedes? Because there are more people lined up afterward. You don't have to start with, no offense, Yuka Sakazaki here, because it does take a little bit away from Mariah May. You go from this all-time great story and feud with Toni Storm to now you're taking on Yuka Sakazaki, who, when was the last time we saw her before this? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I know. I'm with you. I mean, it's the same thing that happened. Not even just a feud, I don't know, even at Collision.
Deonna Purrazzo is building up this faction, right? I know they're doing that, and it's kind of a separate thing, but just someone like Deonna Purrazzo. Just people, just a big match right out of the gate. And then do Yuka Sakazaki as the second title defense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like there's no story at all. Mariah May is going out and just doing matches that are 7 to 9 minutes. Yeah, she's winning the title, which is great, and the champion should win, but you gotta have some story for people to care, especially coming off of that, like you said, that banger of a story with Toni Storm.
Yeah, and then she was just banging Lady Frost's head against the turnbuckle for 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. And then Serena Deeb has a 20 to 25, whatever.
Which, okay, there you go, Mariah May and Serena Deeb.
You're right, exactly. What are we doing here?
Right there. Could have done it.
The Professor, it's perfect. Whatever.
Guys, come on.
Put that in pen right now, please. I need it.
Well, I don't want to write it down now because I'm afraid now it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Should, though. All right. So before we know it, we're at the main event here. I got confused because I thought that these Dynamite or these Grand Slam Collision matches were all also happening on the Dynamite. So I was ready for Jeff Jarrett and Hangman, and that didn't happen. And I was like, oh, it's 10 o'clock now.
Yeah.
So, but if I was in the building, obviously, I would have been able to catch that one. But so it did happen in theory, but we'll have to wait until Collision.
Which is fine.
So we get Jon Moxley, the new Jon Moxley. Folks, I will say this again, straight from the man's mouth himself. Jon Moxley is the solution to all of your problems in professional wrestling, and it still rings true to this day. Right now, we need somebody to take that belt off of Bryan Danielson. And then, who's it going to be? It's going to be Jon Moxley, because he beat Darby Allin, took that title shot away from Darby Allin. Darby, what did he win to get this? Was it the... It wasn't the... No, because Christian won the casino gauntlet match, right?
Yes.
Or no, was it the ladder match? No, it was the gauntlet match.
Yes, the gauntlet match, yeah.
Darby wasn't the Owen Hart, was it? No, because that was Bryan. Darby is the number one contender. Don't know how he got here.
Let's find out. Let's make sure we know. Hold on.
But he won the title match. It wasn't just like, I deserve this.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Is Kai and Tai in there with you?
Number one announcer.
Julia does not need Funaki's help. But I do.
Why did Darby get this?
Folks, just scream it into your radio or your computer speakers. Drop a comment down below. Why are we idiots?
Weird. Yeah. How come we can't remember?
But anyways, this Moxley character. Moxley just came out one day in a white V-neck and said he's taken over and this is not your company anymore. Okay. Kind of reminded me of the Outsiders.
He's great at it, and I love it. But I question about booking too here, since we're doing booking theory. Do you think that Moxley should be more straight heel instead of being a cool guy for this character?
Well, I think this is displaying the underrated complexity that Moxley has as a character. You know.
Okay.
And I think that he is a heel, and it's just he's cool, so people like him. You know.
All right. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
he's like a badass, like a bad guy who's a badass. People like that. You know.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard. You can't do anything about it. I'm glad that he is going to be the champion, because you're right. Bryan Danielson definitely needs some surgery or time off. And who do you go to? And credit to Jon Moxley for being like, I'm not just going to be this Jon Moxley that you've seen before. I want a whole new story to do this. Good for him.
Yeah. So he's got Marina Shafir, another toughie, with him. Don't look at her wrong at a bar. She'll fucking judo throw you across the room.
That's right. I'm sure there's more. And Claudio's with him still.
Claudio and Pac. So the Blackpool Combat Club is no more. Now we're just the Moxley, the Death Rider Club, because Moxley's now back to being the Death Rider version of Jon Moxley.
Which is great. I'm sure there's more. I kind of like when he was telling the Darby before the match on Collision, when he was just like telling him to show me. Like, even Moxley's like, show me what you got. Like, make me believe in you. And I hope that's kind of the story he's going with. I hope he makes everyone try to believe. He tells everyone to try to make Moxley believe in them. And I think that's a great story. And I hope he gets more people to join him.
I do like how he just came in and just stole this title shot from Darby. He basically told Darby that he wasn't ready, but then he said he wasn't ready 5 years ago and he's not ready now. But then he also said, yeah, show me why you should be the champion. And then Moxley just goes in there, throws Darby Allin around like his plaything. Darby hitting the wood underneath the padding. It's just, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
What else? What else can we bounce Darby Allin off of that we haven't already? I mean, he's already gone through glass off of a ladder.
He'll think of something, let me tell you.
Onto the top of a coffin.
Ugh.
He's landed on. He's come off the, like I said, onto the wood boards here. Suicide dive.
Yikes.
It's just, what hasn't this dude done? He went off at like when him and Jeff Hardy were throwing each other off of buildings every other week.
Yeah, yep. Oh, man.
But then, yes, Moxley hit him with the Avalanche Death Rider from the middle rope. Sickening. To finish Darby and
great.
Get the win.
Oh. And then Moxley just gets up like a badass and doesn't really react like he was supposed to do the whole way. He's great. I mean, man, WWE really messed up letting him go.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. He has that same thing of like, I feel like him and Roman Reigns have the same kind of thing where these guys are just going to be great. No matter what they do, they're just going to be great. He has that thing. No matter how often, you're not going to get sick of him. He's going to keep doing what he does. And it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and Moxley gets like strikes against him, because of like the way his attitude comes off with like just the way he is,
Yeah.
It's just very unique. But once you get to know him, you realize he's actually, when it comes to wrestling, dare I say, Mox the genius.
Hell yeah. Yep. I mean, look, I've seen him clips with his daughter. I mean, when you're like that kind of like lovable girl dad, I don't think you're that bad of an attitude.
Well, he is also straight up addicted to blood. His words, not mine.
I mean, what I'm thinking of last night watching that Darby match with him, I'm just like, man, Moxley really loves CZW. That's what I kept thinking. Where's the fork? Where's the promo with the fork?
Well, it's like, when someone like maybe you haven't had your coffee yet and someone like walks by you and you get a whiff of coffee and you're like, I need some coffee. Moxley smells blood. He's like, I need some blood. I need to cut someone, to cut meat from the opening bell like all the baby faces do, Jesse.
You know what? Since we're doing booking theory, this is my big booking theory. Mox is winning the title, obviously. I don't know how long it's going to be for, but it's going to be long. Mox is going to run through AEW, and there's going to be one savior of AEW. Kenny Omega.
Moxley and Omega.
That's where I think it's headed to. If Omega can wrestle, I don't know how his actual health is. I don't want him to rush back. Don't wrestle if you can't. But if he's ready to go, that's where it's going.
All right, let me get the pen out here. I'll give you that one. So I got one here that it's nothing to do with the segment we're on, but it's not happening. So we're gonna move on. We'll have to rebook it. It's not happening, which we'll talk about on a future segment. But yeah. So what's today? Today is the 26th, 9/26. Kris has booked. So who booked Mariah May, and who do we book Mariah May against? Serena Deeb. You did, right?
Yeah, I booked her. Yeah, I'm glad you put in that pen. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we gotta see that one.
Oh man.
I mean, that can main event the show.
I'm like the associate booker, so if these don't come true, it's because I'm still learning.
We got Moxley, and I'm putting the C in parentheses next to him because he has to be champion.
Yes, he has to be the champion. Yep.
Versus Kenny by God Omega. Wow. Think they'll do the barbed wire spider web again like they did?
So you get the bombs back.
Yeah, the exploding barbed wire death match. Oh, that's what I should do, the unboxing. I was going to do an unboxing video of my Blood and Guts barbed wire death match Omega and Moxley 2-pack that I finally want to take out of the box. That was the original reason why I bought the figures, was because I thought these two figures, the Omega and Moxley figures from the exploding barbed wire death match, were just some of the coolest bloody figures I've ever seen. Oh, yeah. I just left them in the box because the box was cool too. But now the box is a little damaged, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting to be that time. Probably put that on Patreon. But oops. All right. So yeah. So now we're getting Moxley as the number one contender against Bryan Danielson, presumably at Wrestle Dream. Right?
I think that's the only match that's confirmed for Wrestle Dream.
I mean, you had this Wrestle Dream in Washington, right? It's in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And you've got Swerve and Darby, and you're putting Mox. I mean, you had the opportunity to just put that belt back on Swerve.
I thought that's where we're going. We talked about it many times. I thought that's what's going to happen, but Swerve is going to take on a new comer to AEW. Another booking thing I'm going to say.
He's going to take on somebody.
I think it's Swerve versus the Almighty.
So yeah, so this was the match lineup here, but then we also had a segment where Prince Nana came out to give us an update on Swerve Strickland, which I need an update on Swerve. I mean, last time I saw him, he was getting blasted in the head with a chair.
Yeah, unprotected.
It was gimmicked, Kris. You know what I think was gimmicked? The gimmick.
That's right.
That's what's gimmicked. You're gimmicking me by saying that.
K-Fab the rib.
K-Fab the chair. So Prince Nana comes out, and I mean, I saw Swerve on like the Breakfast Club, so he's looking all right.
Yeah.
I hope he's healing up. He deserves time off. He needs some time off. Let the man rest, but then get back in there. You know what I mean? How long is too long, right? Like if Swerve took off like 3 months.
I know, but ugh.
But at this point, you can just come back. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
If Triple H can come back after like 11 or 10 months and get that huge pop, you know, back in the day.
Yeah, Swerve's one of those guys who can do it. Some guys can't do it, but Swerve definitely fills that, or checks that box.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys, they don't actually stay gone long enough sometimes for you to forget. It's not a big, there's no big return pop because it's like, like Moxley was doing that where he would return like once a month. They'd be like, Moxley's back every month. But yeah, so we got an update on Swerve and we got interrupted by M to the V to the P, Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP in AEW. Comes out and says that he wants to have a conversation with Swerve about some hashtag business. Folks, what kind of business do you think he was talking about, Chris?
I think it's the hurt kind.
Hurt business. Except no Cedric.
No Cedric, but I wonder if a lot of people speculating that Shelton Benjamin's going to be there too. But I do think this is going to mark the return of bringing Lashley to AEW, even if it's for a small run, because it just makes sense to me. I love MVP. Again, I hated MVP as a wrestler, but I love MVP as this guy. This character here, I think he's amazing.
I used to like MVP as a wrestler back in there. The end of the Ruthless Aggression days. MVP versus Matt Hardy.
Okay.
Good stuff.
I'll have to go back.
I just gotta put it out there. I can't let you do that on my show. Talking about MVP in such a way. No.
I apologize.
No, you're allowed to have your opinion. I told you that.
Mea culpa.
But yes, MVP showing up on the scene, trying to talk business. Hashtag hurt business with Swerve. Lashley, I think, would be a weird fit in AEW. Shelton Benjamin, a much better fit for AEW.
I agree. I wonder how it's going to go, though. I wonder if it's just as simple as MVP is just going to take over manage Swerve. That's it. Could just be that. I do like that pairing a little bit better. I love Prince Nana. His dance got over. I think it's great, but MVP is more serious. I think Swerve needs a more serious, like hardcore kind of manager. I
mean, that could be another dastardly move by Swerve. Just like turn on Prince Nana, who everybody loves, you know?
Absolutely. Yep. Because Prince Nana can go tie himself to someone else and it'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe. He had a good run here, I think, for sure.
True. Or he can go away, yeah. Go back to Ring of Honor, buddy.
Go talk to Perry Silkin.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so yeah, we had MVP showing up on the scene. We had the retirement of the FTW title. Moxley stealing Darby's #1 contendership. Bucks having a good match against Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. And then we still have Grand Slam Collision, which was taped at Arthur Ashe Stadium, where we will, folks, see Hangman versus Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Jarrett with the greatest character he's ever done, The Last Outlaw. Like the best, why was he being such an idiot, country singer, stupid, I hated Jeff Jarrett for so long. I hated him in WCW too. But for some reason, this character is just so cool. I'm like, yeah, Last Outlaw Jarrett, be angry. Slap that wall with that leather belt. Last Outlaw's a good little name too. Good for you.
Yeah, and JBL's trying to copy him on the Indies.
That's true, he is. I prefer Jeff Jarrett over JBL any day.
Every day.
Yeah, every day, and then after I die, when I'm dead too.
And every day after that.
What else is happening on Collision? I don't even know.
We got a three-way, I believe. Hologram, the Beast Mortos, and Dralistico, I believe, is who's in the match.
Okay.
That is not a bad match.
No, that's pretty good.
Hey, that was a Collision in Springfield.
We did see the Beast Mortos and Hologram, though.
Jack Perry is going to have a open challenge for the TNT Championship.
That's great. That's going to be someone cool. Okay.
Yeah. Who knows? Put the belt on Ricochet.
Poor Jack Perry.
We have a trios title match. Private Party. Am I reading this right? Oh, yes. Private Party and Commander. You know that trio?
Uh-huh.
First of all, I don't want to shit on Private Party. Isaiah Cassidy did a great job getting beat up by Jon Moxley the other week.
Yes.
It was
That's
great.
a talent.
And also, that promo that they cut was good. It did kind of make me interested in them a little bit more. Like, they need to kind of keep cutting promos like that. Hit or miss. But maybe do it on Collision, like this match is on Collision. But that was not bad.
Good call, yep.
They're taking on the trios champions, which is this the Newcastle upon Tyne Combat Club? Philadelphia Combat Club?
That's a good one. Newcastle upon Tyne. That's good.
The
That's good.
Swiss Combat Club?
The Death Rider Club. That's fine. I like it.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about Brian coming back in and choking Moxley with what looks like his purple belt. Is he trying to say that? Oh, it's a tie. It's a purple tie. Yeah. Is it Justin Roberts' tie?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It looks like a symbolic tie. And then the next thing Brian should do is choke Moxley with a gas mask.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, man.
But yeah, Brian and Moxley, if these guys had time to do like a real feud, which they still may, we don't know, there's some time.
Yep.
If they had a lot of back and forth, like cutting promos opposite each other, you know, these run-ins, fights, maybe a trilogy of matches, that would be great. I do think they're just going to put the belt on Moxley, though.
I agree.
All right, so now let's talk about our trip to Springfield, Massachusetts last Saturday. We had a much better night than the sheriff of Hampden County that night. So, Wrestling Fan Kris and myself took our family to see AEW Collision in Springfield, Massachusetts, the historic wrestling city of Springfield, where, folks, if you don't know, Springfield has had some incredible moments in the history of wrestling. I mean, you've got the Mountie winning the Intercontinental title from Bret Hart.
Incredible.
At a house show in '97, I saw Flash Funk, I believe, defeat Rockabilly.
I'm so sad I missed that.
And we got to see Rockabilly again on Saturday.
Oh, so weird. Yep.
What else has gone down in lovely Springfield, Massachusetts? Saw Savio beat, I believe it was Chains and I don't know who else. D'Lo in a three-way.
Definitely. I saw a match between Kevin Nash and Scott Hall for the Intercontinental title. Oops, no, I didn't. They just didn't have the match. Oh. It was on the card. It was announced, and they were just like, "Oh, Scott Hall's beat up in the back. Sorry, we don't have the match."
He was beat up from some somas.
Now that I know that, now I'm like, damn, these guys really just did whatever they wanted. Jeez.
Especially in Springfield, there's no obligation to make that town.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, and of course, how could we forget the famous, still mentioned to this day? Did you see Pat LaPrade talking about it today? Springfield, Massachusetts, D-Generation X in your house. Perhaps most famous for being the In Your House pay-per-view that was 1 month after the Montreal Screwjob, where Bret Hart constantly said he was willing to drop the title in Springfield, but not in Montreal. Might be the most famous thing about that pay-per-view was that it was a month after the Montreal Screwjob, and Shawn Michaels ended up having to face Ken Shamrock.
Which is fine. And then Owen Hart came out and could have been a superstar, but he was a Hart family member, so fuck him.
I was 9 years old. I was standing on my chair on the floor. I was in like the 8th row back with my aunt at the DX In Your House pay-per-view. Got to look up, like up here, to see Stone Cold stun D'Lo Brown on his pickup truck.
Amazing.
So I was like right here for me.
That's a huge moment.
I believe the Legion of Doom was there.
And I think
I saw like their pads over people's heads.
Hell yeah. Wasn't that also Sergeant Slaughter versus Triple H?
The boot camp match. I was 9 years old. And this is what I did that Sunday. I watched Superstars on USA at 10 or 11 in the morning. Then I went right over to that pay-per-view channel, and I was just watching that half-hour pay-per-view preview on like loop until it was time to go to the arena.
Hell yeah.
And I just was thinking all day, what the heck is a boot camp match?
Amazing.
It was just a no rules match.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I've never heard of a boot camp match, but it's happening.
Because Sergeant Slaughter is a legitimate veteran. We know this.
Drill instructor.
Yes, legitimately. It's not a fake at all.
Also was a G.I. Joe. Don't know if you know that.
That's true. Yes. Was that card better than the Collision card we saw last Saturday, though, is the question.
Well, you don't see Taka Michinoku crowned as the first ever WWF light heavyweight champion every day.
That's true.
Defeating Brian Christopher after a pretty decent light heavyweight title tournament.
I remember that very clearly, yes.
Which featured the likes of Aguila, Scott Taylor.
Devin Storm was in that, right? Crowbar?
Was he?
I think so. I think Jerry Lynn was in it, too, for a match. Christopher Daniels was in a match, I believe. Under a mask, though.
Was he in the mask? Was he Aguilar?
I think he was like LT Gray or something. And Super Crazy was in it, too. At Super Loco with a mask.
Oh, yes.
This is wild.
Yeah, they had a lot of light heavyweights that were good. But, yeah.
But was that as good as the son of a bunkhouse brawl, though? What do you think?
The bunkhouse brawl was decent for a live match, I thought, because it was chaos, and it's hard to get a chaotic match like that with a big crowd. Like at an indie show, it's great because they're walking right by you.
Yeah,
or they're throwing people on you. But it's hard when they're we were only in the fourth row, so it was great. But they had the crowd going. Now, this is what I would have done on Collision. Before I get into the real criticism, I would have put that 10-man in the opening match, the 28-minute 10-man tag match, and I would have ended the show with the bunkhouse tag team brawl. That's
what I thought they were going to do when I saw the card, honestly.
Yeah, so overall, it was a decent show. It was a fun night. You know what I'm going to say? I didn't really... Okay, so what do you think was the best match of the whole night, Chris?
Oh, the whole night. Oh, man. Let's see. Thinking about all the Rampage matches, too. I love seeing Takeshita. I love seeing him live. But that was kind of like a squash. I don't know. Serena Deeb had a great match. Yeah,
it was definitely Serena Deeb's match. That was, to me, the match of the night. To me, it was one of the only matches that graduated beyond... Like, even though some of the matches were longer than 10 minutes, there's like a style of a match that goes on in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Think like what we saw with Mariah May and Lady Frost.
Yep.
Not exactly a squash, but not enough time to really have a back and forth contest here. Really just a showcase of the babyface, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we got with Mariah May. And then, by the time, I think that the Rampage card, overall, what is going on there? It's the glass shattering? Is Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out?
I'm not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but that was pretty entertaining.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
Who the fuck? Sorry about that.
I gave you that drop to figure your life out. So overall, I thought that the show, especially having us attended the live event and we paid for the floor seats, I felt like the show was definitely missing some star power and overall match quality. Because what do you say, if we go to an indie show and we pay $15, $25, or even like $60, there's going to be some very good wrestlers on that card, even if it's just in like the top 2 matches.
Yes.
And they will generally have a main event for the crowd. This match, unless something happened on those Ring of Honor matches after we left, unless Bobby Cruz wasn't telling us something, this show essentially had no main event for the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Nothing to send the people home, because what they did was they gave you a very decent match to start Collision, the Bunkhouse Brawl tag team match, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara defending the Ring of Honor tag titles against Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. It was a good match. Mike Bennett bleeding within 60 seconds.
Everyone bled. Sammy.
Dustin is just within 60 seconds of this show starting.
Like I said to you in the arena, the Rhodes family, their foreheads just pour hot. They have special foreheads.
The baby faces, they just go out there and they cut meat from the opening bell.
I mean, I actually really enjoyed that match too. That was my favorite match. It wasn't the best, but the best match was Serena Deeb, but that was my favorite match, except at the end when Taven and Bennett just got up during like the commercial break when the lights were out and just like they got right up and just like waved to the crowd like thank you. I'm like, you just went through a bunkhouse brawl. Your faces are destroyed. Just sell for me, okay?
Yeah,
and maybe that's because I hate Matt Taven, so I'm just going a little harder. But come on.
Yeah, so we had the Matt Taven and Mike Bennett match. What's going on? What's going on in your house now? Is there a squeaking mouse? Are you Cinderella?
That's a cricket outside.
You need to control these things. You don't have
It's loud.
It's probably a cicada. It's probably not a cricket.
It might be a cicada. You mentioned the
Only
AC
be
on?
one. I don't think it'd just be one cicada though. But anyway, so yeah, so this 10-man tag match, right? Which can we even name everybody in this match? Let's try. On the babyface side, we had the Outrunners, Turbo Floyd, and Truth Martini. No, Truth Magnum. Dax Harwood, Cash Not Guilty.
Oh God.
And Hook, right?
Which I like. I like seeing all of them.
Then on the heel side, we had the Beast Mortos, Attorney at Law.
That's correct.
I don't even remember anybody else. Roosh. He was there.
It was Tony Nese.
No, that was a different match.
Oh my God, I'm confusing the matches. Oh my God, you're right.
That was a Ring of Honor match. It was
You're right,
the
that
premier
was.
athletes.
You're right. Oh my God.
Josh Wood
Beast Mortos,
called somebody fat in the
Roosh.
crowd.
He did. Of course he did. I'm embarrassed right now that I don't remember who's in this match. Beast Mortos, Roosh. This is wild.
Was it hang in there, folks.
I'm gonna go to the tape. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just running back the tape. We're just communicating with the truck to try to pull the footage back up here.
Yeah,
so we
where's the
can
truck?
double check, get the instant replay going.
All right, here we go. Who was here? I'm almost there.
Oh, it was the Grizzled Young Vets.
Oh, of course. How did I forget that?
James Drake and Zach Gibson, which they're awesome. That was good.
And Roddy Strong.
And Roderick Strong.
Yeah, they're all good to see them.
It was, but the problem was that it was a half-hour long match, and it was the same spot over and over again. It was hot tag spots for 10 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we had exactly 10 hot tag spots, but there was at least 8 involving Dax alone. No,
I would have rather taken that 28 minutes and broken that 28 minutes up and had the Grizzly Young Vets take on the Outrunners or FTR.
Yeah, or FTR.
Or Roosh against some whatever. Like, split that up.
And then the show ended, Collision ended with Nigel's promo, which I thought was a great promo. I'm very happy that I got to see it in person.
Yes.
But the crowd was just not, there was no main event for this crowd. They go into a thing where now we're taping Rampage, and it's like, okay, so the main show is kind of over, and now we're getting into the hour-long show that Tony Khan came back out and explained to us. We're doing like Time Cop here. He basically laid it out all completely, where this week's Rampage was filmed last Saturday. So the MXM was backstage, and they're going to reveal Max Caster's outfit at Collision in Arthur Ashe. But they filmed the Rampage in between these two Grand Slams last Saturday.
Yeah.
So Tony Khan came out and explained it to us and had this Time Cop graphic. Tony Khan, hey, we heard him. He said he's going back to Springfield. I hope he's not blowing smoke up my ass.
I want Dynamite in Springfield, Tony, because I want a better card.
Here's who wasn't on this card. Just some AEW names. And I'm not going to include Kenny Omega because he's obviously healing. Here's who wasn't on this card at all whatsoever, in a segment, in a promo, in Springfield at all. Bryan Danielson, Jack Perry, The Young Bucks, Okada, Pac, Cesaro, Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Jay White, The Bang Bang Gang, Swerve. None of these guys, none of these big names were there. No Mercedes, no Britt Baker.
Jericho?
No Jericho. I mean, the Beast Mortos was great, but Yeah, I mean, actually, not even complaining that Jericho wasn't there, but
I'm not either. But I mean, I'm surprised that like at least one of those big names wasn't there. Honestly, it's kind of crazy that none of them were there.
So we got to give credit. The match of the night: Serena Deeb versus Queen Aminata. This was the only match that they had. They let go on to the point where there was an actual story told in the match. Everything else was gimmicks, hot tags, 7 minutes, and you're done.
As much as I like that match with Serena Deeb, and I think it was also better because at first no one really cared about it, and they actually worked very hard to get all the crowd into it, and it was a great match. And remember when they were chanting green or yellow, and no one knew what was going on in the match.
So I tweeted this, and it got like 2,000 views. This tweet about Queen Aminata's gear was green, but then on the Tron it was yellow. So Serena Deeb's got her in this hold, and the crowd starts chanting green or yellow, and she just stands up and she's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like what?
And I thought, oh man, this match. I was in my head. I thought, good thing this match is only going to be 5 minutes because Mariah May's match was only like 7. So why would the champion not get longer to shine? But no, then it went on 20 more minutes. But Serena Deeb really and Queen Aminata really worked hard and made the match good. So everyone was into it. But
and Darby versus Evil Uno was a good match. I had higher expectations. This is the one basically singles match that you have here featuring one of the stars of your show. Why not give these guys some time? It wasn't even the main event.
Yeah, I know. I have no knowledge of any of this, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm just like FTR won't be in anything but the main event. That's what I thought to myself. They're pulling shit like that. Don't know if that's true. Probably isn't.
Well, they were essentially the main event match on Collision because I think, first of all, they went a half hour in that 10-man. And then, oh no, Collision, this match was on Collision. It wasn't on Ring of Honor. It was the conglomeration versus the Premier Athletes. So it was Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Hologram. Is Hologram part of the conglomeration? We know one person who is, that we got to see in Springfield, Rocky Romero. Was happy to see Rocky.
I wanted him to wrestle, though. I thought it was going to be the match.
I just got to see him dance. That was good enough for me. Rocky Romero in Springfield.
And Smart Mark was great, too.
Smart Mark got the key to the city, folks, of Springfield, Massachusetts. I don't know if you guys can see. I've got my little Smart Mark signed Major Bendy from when he main evented Dynamite. Have you ever main evented Dynamite, Wrestling Fan Kris?
No, I haven't.
No, but Smart Mark Sterling has against Jon Moxley.
I did like in the match too, as Mark Sterling is from Springfield, right? He was at one point in the match, he was being a good manager and being so angry and like shocked at what was happening in the ring and nervous. Then I saw him look over to what must have been people he knew, and he just broke character, pointed at him and smiled, then went right back to being angry and sad. It was very great.
So yeah, Smart Mark was there. I didn't see if he was selling any Major Bendies. It wasn't like those kind of merch tables, you know?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was weird.
I did buy a Darby Allin shirt for me and one for my daughter, so we have matching Darby shirts.
I'm glad that she got to see Darby too.
Darby's her favorite wrestler because she can do the coffin drop.
It's a great reason to love someone.
And there was at one point during the 10-man tag where me and Chris thought the crowd was around us was chanting, "We want tables." No, folks. They were chanting, "We want turbo."
Which is incredible, yes.
Biggest pop of the night from the Watch Wrestling section was probably either when we saw the Tron for Konosuke Takeshita, because again, this card lacks star power, so we're getting to Rampage, and we see Konosuke is going to come out and wrestle.
Yep.
So we definitely, that was a loud reaction, got that Road Warrior pop from just me and Chris.
I know.
Second loudest reaction was probably for TJ Crawford from us.
Yeah.
We saw TJ Crawford showing up in the ring. So that was good. And then obviously third would have been the Beast Mortos.
Absolutely. I enjoyed that. I was looking forward to seeing Mariah May, and it was great seeing her. But again, the match was just lacking. But not her fault, and not Lady Cross's fault. It was just like a match that I would have saw on like Action Zone, like 95.
Yeah, I mean, Anna Jay's match that we saw that night was a little bit more hard-hitting.
It was, yeah.
Maybe Mariah May needs to go back to Stardom for a little bit.
Maybe take that belt to Stardom, defend it there.
Against Anna Jay.
Yeah, that's okay with me. After that match.
So overall, none of these matches were bad or out of place on the card. The card I thought was just lacking something, especially having the perspective of paying, over $100 for tickets for everybody. It's like, give me something here. Give me a dark match main event of some kind,
It might have to be the next show in Springfield. Might just have to be you and I, so we don't have to spend the money on everyone. I'm sorry, I love them all, but was it worth it for that card? I don't know.
We're just gonna talk to Tony Khan.
Yeah, tell him we're some sickos. We need to page us in.
Yeah, did you book this for the sickos, Tony? I don't think so. The sickos were in the house. I mean, that Serena Deeb match was good, but
I started watching, and I watched the show a little bit afterwards just to see how it looked. It looked fine. It looked like AEW Collision. I was nervous about the crowd size and stuff before we went, and it was fine. It looked fine. It sounded good. And then I always get worried when it shows in Springfield. I'm like, it better look good on TV or they're never, ever going to come back. But it looked like every other Collision, so I think Tony wasn't lying.
All right, folks. So if AEW does go back to Springfield, we'll be there. And if you've ever gone to the Mass Mutual Center these days, folks, it is a trip. Okay? I mean, they're like tearing up the road for, it's going to be like probably like 20 years. So you have to walk in through like a side door, and then there's both people and signs directing you through as if it's just like a bunch of hallways, and there's no like big entrance. I mean, there is, but you don't use it right now, so you don't know where to go, and everything is like, nothing like sticks out as where to go. It's like you're just walking into like a conference room or something. You're like, okay, where's conference room 5? Okay, down the hall to the left. It's weird.
Yeah, like it's a small convention center that we had to walk through. But yeah, it's just hallways and like an office with signs. That's like wrestlers or like wrestling show. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and it's such a small venue that, to get to the floor, there's no like floor level. You have to just go down some stairs, like in the arena, and it's weird.
But come back, Tony, please.
Come back. He was excited to be there. He said he loved the crowd, which I felt like we were kind of influencing the crowd more than at most shows. Because you want to know why? Because this crowd was sleeping in Springfield, and we weren't. So
we had a good. Our whole section was good too. Like we had a kid and his I assume his brother and dad, and it was his birthday. He was hyped. 2 guys in the front row that were taking pictures. They looked like the Nasty Boys. It was great.
Guy in the front row looked like Wild Bill Hancock. I wanted to tell them that, but I didn't want some wild hillbilly getting mad at me. So,
plus,
which does happen in Springfield.
Yeah. I say I love them, but I mean, sometimes you don't want to just talk to random wrestling fans at a wrestling show. Sometimes that doesn't work.
Well, sometimes you do when they come up to us and talk to us, but people, but not when we're trying to we don't want to go make fun of strangers, hoping they'll get the joke.
That's a good point. That's what I should have said. Yeah,
because I did want to make fun of this stranger, but I chose not to.
But Wild Bill's the best character on the show, so I mean, hey.
Who wants to fight with Wild Bill? Wake up, everybody.
Listen, I'm sure we're just a little tease again. I teased the Vince McMahon one earlier. I'll tease our Heels review here. If Heels ever comes back for season 3, Wild Bill's going to die of a heart attack.
Folks, we are going to be reviewing the Vince McMahon documentary, most likely on our next episode. We're taking a week off because I have to travel to a wedding in Texas. Hopefully Kevin will be there. It's in Austin, Texas, though. It's nowhere near Dallas.
No, not even close to Dallas.
Even though he lives in Hawaii. But anyway. So we're definitely going to be reviewing the Vince McMahon documentary. I'm only about halfway through. I want to watch the entire thing. I will say that there is one man that comes off in the first 3 episodes like a 100% pimp, folks, on this Mr. McMahon. If there is one, good side of this documentary, how much of a pimp does Jesse Ventura come off as in this? Look at this good-looking man in this show, folks. Watch the episode where they talk about Jesse and trying to start a union.
Oh yeah,
look at that pimp. I'm telling you, Chris, when you see this, it's just like the best Jesse outfit ever. He looks young and muscular. Again,
wow, okay,
just a pimp walking.
Living in Mexico off the grid's doing him good.
So yeah, we're going to review the Vince McMahon documentary. We're going to devote a whole special episode to reviewing season 1 and season 2 of Heels. Folks, if you are an OG listener of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, you already know we are the foremost authorities on the show Heels.
Yeah.
There are Heels podcasts. Credit to them. I'm glad other people like Heels as much as we do. But again, we've already broken down every single scene in season 1 of Heels. Every line. And we're not going to do that with season 2.
No, but season 2 was so much more like wrestling card, like booking wrestling promotion focused too, that it's right up our alley.
Well, yeah, it was just like they put their foot on the gas with the wrestling terminology because they explained a lot of it to you in season 1. And Rooster does a lot of explaining in season 2 of still wrestling terminology and stuff.
He does.
But so we're going to redo a season 1 review just to stay caught up. And then we're going to get into season 2 of Heels. Because, folks, this is an incredible show. There has to be a season 3. I'm personally watching both seasons of Heels on loop just so Netflix will get the view count so they know people are watching Heels on loop.
Yes, please.
In their basement, on their extra television.
Put it on your phone even if you aren't watching it. Do it for us.
Let Mike O'Malley know. No, he definitely wants to bring the show back for sure.
Yeah.
Charlie Gully. I still wish I bought that Mike O'Malley shirt because now I see people wearing it and I was like, it's my idea to rock that Mike O'Malley pop art shirt. But yeah, so we're going to be reviewing, we're going to do a special episode once we're done, which seems like Wrestling Fan Kris is done with season 2 of Heels.
Correct.
Because he told me, the ending of season 2, which we're not going to spoil here until we do our review. And then what else we got? Vince McMahon documentary, Heels. We got Bad Blood coming up in Atlanta.
And Wrestle Dream 2 will be up soon.
At the Omni Theater, the Omni Coliseum.
The Omni Theater.
3-dimensional.
The Omni Hotel in Providence, Rhode Island. It's haunted. No, it's not. It's a Biltmore. Sorry, guys. Take that out.
All right, folks. That about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where to find the podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your podcast. I was Googling us the other day. There are some weird podcast what are they called? Pod catchers. There are some weird podcatchers out there that are picking us up. I never even heard of them, but they're out there, and you already know we're on them. Wherever you find your podcast, folks, do me a solid favor. It's getting to be that time. You need to hit the like button, folks. You already know you're watching this video. You're sticking to the end. Thank you for sticking with us to the end of the show. Now it's time to do your solemn duty and hit the like button. All right, so that about does it for me and Wrestling Fan Kris and the cicadas outside of his window. What does this button do? Can still hear those cicadas.